Back to your arms, the place I call home. Back to your voice that calls me your own. Back to your path, the one where I won't walk alone. Back to the mercy you've always shown. Back to your son who sits on the throne. Back to your
Hold on. Okay, good morning, y'all. Milos is out today, but asked me to take over, talk about what we're going to talk. One thing we need. I think we want to do the prayer presence too, just as we kind of don't cycle out of our kind of routine in a sense. But let me set for a minute. Just kind of ground ourselves with God, get him, ask for his presence here, and I don't have you pray, everyone after. Okay?
I'll try not to cry.
Okay. All right. Let's do it.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for another day of life that we get to come together in your presence and learn something. I pray that your Holy Spirit joins us and that we can take home with us in this week whatever it is that we will learn today from your word. In your name we pray. Amen. Sorry.
Oh.
Good challenge. Really good challenge.
All right. So I'm not exactly sure what the title of last week's sermon, but it's a continuation.
Yeah, it's a continuation. It's the same one.
So one thing you need, so spiritual necessity. So we're going to talk about some basic needs. Hey, Jesus. What would you say are basic needs to sustain meaningful living?
The things that we eat to keep us, wait, say it again?
What would you say are basic needs to sustain meaningful living? Food, okay.
I would say like having a daily routine would probably help.
Oh yeah.
Like not wondering what you're gonna do every day is, I feel like it's a lot challenging than it needs to be. So like if you already got your set routine, you're like, boom, ready to go.
Okay, I can see that. Laura, you got anything?
To sustain what?
A meaningful living.
Meaningful living, like overall. Thank
So
you,
far,
guys.
we have food, a routine,
The food routine.
That's what we said so far.
Oh.
so basic needs. Like,
Basic needs.
You know, this has been really annoying to me, but I get it. That having daily exercise, or at least weekly exercise 2 to 4 times a week, you could have the worst diet, the worst habits in the world, but as long as you're moving your body, that is actually what's going to help you live longer and healthier.
That's a good one. I'd also say like community, like people around you. Because I feel
Yeah.
like when I'm home alone and there's no one there, I feel like I go a little crazy.
yeah.
Like I'm like, oh, I have to go to the store or something just to see other humans.
True.
Yeah, because like I could be at work and be my coworkers are there. They're present, but you're not necessarily talking all the time. But then when they're not there and you're trying to get a response out of someone, you're like, oh. Okay. Which of the, I think we go there. Are you guys familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Yeah.
So which of the categories would you say is the most important? Or would you say is the most what can we eliminate from it and still have a quality meaningful life? You could take away safety and
Oh, well, there's a house in there, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like they're all kind of like built on each other,
Yeah, you can't have the other without having the
right? It
first
kind of
one
looks
before.
like, yeah, they're all like building blocks for the one above it.
yeah. That's what I always learn.
Yeah.
Because you can't necessarily get to social needs or self-actualization before you even met psychological or
Yeah.
safety or anything.
Yeah.
Things may happen quicker than others, but
Mm-hmm.
so it'll take time. Well, you know how Milos likes to challenge us. Well, you came to the realization prior to. It's like, well, all of these are required for an essential part because they're building blocks on each other.
Yeah, they all coexist.
Yeah.
Because even if you try to like cheat, like I feel like sometimes we do try to kind of cheat out of one of them to like get maybe to the very top, which is self-actualization. But like we can't really do that if we neglect some of the other ones. But I know, like I've known in my own life where sometimes like the esteem needs or whatever or social needs, I'll be like, I'm good, like
Yeah.
whatever, like I don't need that to try and get to a higher level, and it's like that doesn't really work that way.
I saw something recently on social media about creating your life in a sense of food. You have your appetizers, you have your dinners, you have your sides, and then you have your desserts. Oh, what's up, Lucy? It's so good to see you. You smell good. Thank you. I have spring rolls over there if you guys want some. And then I'm making the firecracker stuff. And so, like what would constitute as a, per se, entree or a dinner meal would be like your favorite hobbies, the things that you really, like per se, let's do hobbies overall. They're your favorite hobbies that take the most amount of time. And then you have your sides, this is just something that you can just get up and do like real quick. Your desserts would be things that in excess would make us feel icky, so kind of like social media or eating desserts or things that we should really keep to a down low. And then like appetizers is something that you can like real quick get something done, play with like a word puzzle or something of the sort. So I would love to start implementing that because I saw that. That was fun.
That's a good analogy. I like that.
Yeah, Jenny, since you're a psychology major, right? In a sense? A little bit? You got to deal with psychology. You're familiar with the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, correct? Because that's probably a pertinent point of your job. What would you feel? What would you add to each category for a meaningful life? Yeah, what would be part of it? Like taking that into account, what would be essential for a meaningful life?
Like I have to add one to each one.
No, I mean you could add a couple, not just add a couple. Like where did you feel? So
Oh, okay.
Erlen said food. He said routine. Laura said exercise. Community. And then right before, as you were walking in, we were discussing which of these categories could we take away to be able to still have a quality life, quality, meaningful life.
Well, probably obviously the top one. Maybe, but it's kind of hard. The self-actualization.
To reach that point.
Uh,
To reach that point.
like to still have a meaningful life. Like if we removed it, I would say
Like
that.
any of them.
Yeah, I would say that. Why
Or
not
just
at
say-
the top?
It's like Milos's challenge. He's like, we can't have all of them are building blocks on each other just because you want to reach that point. Because if you only reach that esteem part, you have that everything's still not grouped together properly. You have that self-esteem and
Like that need.
yeah,
Like there's still that little need at the end that you're like, if only I had that.
exactly.
I feel like top two, or like the cherry on top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I'd say the top one, I don't think so, but the top two, I'd say you don't need. You know what I mean?
Okay, what's your interpretation of self-actualization?
I mean, something like social status, I would say, like internet status or like career status. You know what I mean? Like you don't need those. Like that's more like I feel like 21st century.
Yeah.
Like back then.
This thing is how old? Like centuries old.
Yeah. So
Like we're a couple, not a century. Like
But like I get what he's saying. Like,
I do too.
yeah,
But I
like-
think that part, what he is saying, plays more into our generation.
But
too.
does self-actualization only represent like success, or can it mean like, for example, let's say like maybe I felt self-actualized because like now I'm no longer this like fear-based person that I used to be.
See, and
Now
that was my understanding of
that's
this.
what I'm getting kind of too. Like I
That's
don't
what I'm saying. Like
necessarily
that,
think,
his interpretation of it is more of the 21st century.
yeah, like the
that
more the
social
success
status.
and money and power versus where like me when I think of self-actualization, I think it more like internally, like I'm not. Maybe I'm living a life. Maybe I'm not like rich or whatever, but I have my home, my little family, whatever. But I'm living happy and feel, you know, good because I'm at peace with who I am as a person. I don't make fear-based decisions. I love the work that I do, etc. You know, I think that's kind of how I took it as.
Yeah, that's how it is.
And I feel like that you would want to have that in a life that feels meaningful to you.
Oh no, I agree with that, but I mean like you don't need it. You know what I mean? Like I mean, I separate it as living and then like living life, like surviving.
But I think, what did you say? You said that Milos said for a meaningful life? Like you don't think that you would need, because I get the bottom ones, those are more like necessities to survive, right?
Yeah.
But like for your life to have more than just this necessities to survive, you would want to have some meaning, right?
Yeah, I'm like
That's kind of what I took it as.
the
maybe.
self-esteem part. I'm seeing as we were in the last day. Like we had a jacket. You see your jacket, and you know the weather outside. To get to that self-esteem part, you're just carrying your jacket outside. You're getting to that point, but you haven't necessarily reached that part of completion of being
But, you know,
completely wrapped in life. Self-actualization would be putting on that jacket and you're going outside in a snowstorm and you're like, I'm good.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it doesn't help with graduation. I don't know what the fruit is.
is that like the macaroni picture that kids bring? Like
That's a banana. Which is
I know, but like
maybe
like
the
it's
accomplishment
kinda like,
of
I like
it,
the
like-
accomplishment, yeah. Like look what I made.
Yeah. Because it's like, or that whole approaching graduation, you're in that self-esteem part, you're like gung-ho for it. You graduate, your self-esteem, I'm still thinking you're in that middle, but then that accomplishment of getting that job. You're familiar with it recently, you are familiar with it recently. Just being able to put forth all your accomplishments in the end, to put that work forth.
It did feel great.
Okay, what would you say? Well, we kind of discussed that. Which are the most important? It depends on because you're gonna cycle through it too, through life. You're not gonna always just be up on top. But you're gonna have little dips in self-esteem and maybe even your safety at times. You're in a rough neighborhood, but it's never just gonna go plummet down because you're gonna just backtrack and it'll be a lot easier maybe to get back to that point. Or it could be even a lot rougher in the end to get to a higher status because something could have happened to you in life.
I see this as a positive cycle. This is what I'm like going with my ebbs and flows when I'm going down, when I'm going up. Like, and I'm going down, I'm just gonna focus on my safety and my psychological needs. That makes sense. And then when I'm feeling like things are on the up end, then I can focus on my social needs, esteem needs, self-actualization as I'm going up. And knowing that I can go down, like when I'm on my way down again, I'm like, that's okay. It's 100%
Okay. Kind of going off of that. When you look at all these, give the examples. Next one, sorry. So here's some examples of the needs. So we got, start from the bottom, nutrition, water, air, sleep, shelter, clothing, reproduction, security, stability, predictability, perception, freedom of fear, from fear, structure, order, law, limits. And then we go into like friendships, tenderness, affiliations, love, dignity, achievement, mastery, competence, independence, and then growth, unity, understanding, beauty, morality, transcendence, exploration, and play. So when you look at these examples, if someone was to take away one of them from you, how would you feel?
If someone, like not myself,
How would you feel some were taken away from you?
or okay.
So let's say,
No, honestly, detrimental because like everything here is what we need as human beings.
yeah, because the first one, okay, nutrition. If water was taken away from you, you kind of.
We can't die.
Well, let's say the more less accessible to some, shelter. That was taken away.
Recently experienced a safety one. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had someone chase me to my car. So that whole experience is awful. And it really feels like it really felt like someone took that safety away from me. And it's very, very jarring.
Oh gosh, Laura.
Where were you?
I was over at Blackjack Pizza up north where Orchard Mall is at. Yeah. Just quick story. I was in the pizza place and I was waiting for my pizza. It was gonna be over 30 minutes and people were coming in and out. People that looked way shadier than the person that was chasing me. And I just had this gut feeling like I could not feel safe around this person.
Your spidey senses
There was
tingling.
somebody you saw.
There's someone that I saw that came in. He was there for about 20 minutes. I got my pizzas. As I walked out, I felt like that presence was still with me.
Following
And
you?
yeah, and I turned around. I saw the guy was walking out of the pizza place without pizzas
Oh no.
towards my car. There was no other cars where my car was at. No other businesses open during that time where my car was at. And as soon as I saw it, I just ran. He kept walking to my car. At the moment that I finally closed my car, he turned around and went the other way. It was awful.
So by looking at that, look how fast something can be taken from you.
Yeah.
You realize, like, you've been at that self-actualization, but then it's like a Jenga puzzle. Someone yanked something right underneath that puzzle. Because you're not pulling from the top tier, you're pulling from underneath. And how unsteady you've been.
Oh, you know,
I've
that
seen
makes
it.
a lot of sense because, like, if you pull the things from the very top, there's not that much effect that's going to happen at the bottom. You
Mhm.
still have, you know, your safety psychological needs. But if someone were to take the safety need from me, I wouldn't have the ability to have, God forbid, that person took me. I'm not going to be thinking about my social needs, or my esteem needs.
Exactly.
I'll be thinking about myself as excellency, whatever that word.
Because you're like Jenga, like you're always pulling from the lower end. Yeah, the structure, I mean, there's still structure. Yeah, the pieces may be less, but more is focused on the top. But as the game goes on, you start pulling from the bottom more, it becomes less steady. So in that middle part where you're pulling social needs, safety, and everything, you're yanking pieces left and right without realizing necessarily it's going to tumble down eventually. Okay. What is necessary from God's point of view? Let's go to Luke 10, verses 38 to 42. Okay, let's do Let's have two people read, or one person, I guess.
I can read.
Okay.
Is everyone there?
Yes.
Now, as they went on their way, Jesus entered a village, and a woman named Martha welcomed him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to his teaching. But Martha was distracted with much serving, and she went up to him and said, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Tell her to help me. But the Lord answered her, Martha, Martha, you are anxious and troubled about many things, but one thing is necessary. Mary has chosen the good portion, which will not be taken away from her.
The verse we're gonna focus on more so in here is verse 41. But the Lord answered her, Martha, Martha, you're anxious and troubled about many things, but one thing is necessary. Mary has chosen the good portion which will not be taken away from her. What did Mary choose? And also, what did Mary choose over what?
You know, what I really appreciate, this is kind of going into last week's service about treasures from heaven, the treasures that will not be taken away from us. It's kind of like that pyramid that we were just seeing, and this is the thing at the very bottom, almost as its own subsection, something that can be taken. Like, they can't take away the table or the floor when you're playing Jenga, per se. So you can take everything else. Just like Job's life, there were certain things about his life, or everything about his life that was taken away, and yet he had his foundation. And he had his faith. And as long as we have that, God can give us all the rest of the things and build up from there.
So what did Mary choose?
You chose to have a relationship with God.
And what did she choose over that? So her relationship with God was that vertical relationship, right? Over the horizontal needs.
Yeah, worries and anxieties.
And when we, just like that foundation, when we have that foundation, all those things in life would just go up and down, but you have that foundation with God, He always could provide the other needs as well. This one thing that is necessary, the one thing that is necessary is a matter of priority. So last week, the one thing to attain was a matter of perspective. When living a life, you should rely on divine perspective first. Today we learned that it's necessary for us to prioritize connection with God over all the super important things we have in life. And how often do we do that? We only have so many days, so many hours in our day. And I was like, yeah, my study time this week has just been kind of like, oh, well, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do this. And then it's 10 o'clock at night. So many distractions. Today we learned it's a necessity for us to prioritize. Oh, I did that. This means sacrifice. So what did Mary sacrifice?
See how people would view her. Social a bit too.
That's true.
Her goals, maybe to help have things, and she chose to forego that.
So as we go back to the pyramid, what part of the pyramid did she sacrifice?
From social love.
Yeah, let's say that.
I mean, kind of. I don't know if you could say food too, in a way. Like, she wasn't worried about preparing a meal.
Yeah, I would say that. I would agree
Well,
with
then
that.
you think about it to the safety needs, like what's gonna happen to me afterwards? Is someone gonna like come up to me and ridicule me
and social.
Or even like law, I don't know what like that was law. Yeah.
I would literally say that 2 and 3. Because I don't necessarily think she was feeling dignity or anything or achievement.
Well, but even like the esteem needs, because right there it says reputation.
I don't even necessarily know if she
And
was
that
doing
could have like been like, oh, you know, she's not.
She's risking the reputation.
Yeah, because she's not helping, and maybe back then it was like a thing that it's like all women should, and if they don't, you're like this type of woman. So I think honestly a lot of them.
So that's it. Milos put most of them. Most of the parts of the pyramid she sacrificed. But Mary's choices collapse the pyramid. Once we understand that, our life drastically changes. We stop seeking solutions within the realm of normal. We start looking naturally toward the supernatural. We start expecting supernatural. Oh, this is shorter. Okay, so it's time for us to start seeing our everyday life through the eyes of God. This is where miracles happen.
This is where I think I really enjoy when God says like, my burden is light, and my yoke is easy, my burden is light, something like that. It says, right? And I always think about that because like if I'm thinking about this and I'm thinking, okay, I have to live my life and go through all these needs to get to the self-actualization needs, and I'm looking at all the examples of stuff that you need, and I'm just like, crap, that is so many things that I have to make sure are going right in my life in order for me to make it to the top and be satisfied or happy, content. And I'm like, based on my life experience, how many of those things on there have been either taken away or disrupted, or you don't have certain periods or whatever, that it's like, crap, when am I ever going to get to the top if all these other little Jenga pieces are constantly getting pulled out?
But then that's that also the anxiousness. It's like, wait, I gotta have this.
Right.
'Cause it's like
it's so cool that with what Mary did, it's like she said like, you know, screw all this. Like, yeah, I have this foundation, and if we focus on that, it's like all these other things it's gonna be fine in the end, because we're gonna have Jenga pieces in our life being taken out at all sorts of points. And if we're not so worried, or like the anxiety that we get, I'm always like, I have to have all this in order to have this and be happy, then it's like you're just gonna chill. You're gonna be like, you know, it is what it is, and I'm gonna be taken care of because I believe that my God's gonna provide what I need. He knows what I need.
Yeah, because I was like, nutrition, we're still here. We got water, we got food, you got shelter.
That can also be taken.
And they can be taken away quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, the snowstorm wiped out a bunch of electric lines, and didn't hear any about like trees falling on houses and stuff, but how quickly that could have happened.
Or like people, like other
People.
countries that start wars, and the people, you know, like, what do you do in that situation? Everything gets taken away.
Yeah. Belongingness. He looks like 10 years younger. I haven't seen you like that in a long time.
No, it still looks like Miller.
It still does, right? It's been a while. You too. Okay, so don't look at this, Philip. Are you familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Yes.
I'm going to do a backtrack because it's kind of done. We're kind of discussing loose ends.
So it's essentially like food, water, basic needs, right?
Yeah.
Then it transitions up to social needs and like shelter and emotional and stuff like that.
So at the beginning, we discussed like which one could we ditch?
Which
Like,
one
if it was
could we-
taken away, could we? Like the theme was like a spiritual necessity, but a meaningful life. So which of these categories or needs can be taken away for us to still have a meaningful life?
Social?
Philip, what are you talking about social?
I mean, you.
You like call us all, you need the social aspect. Oh no,
Yeah, we all do need the social aspect.
But then when you, with that social aspect, are you still able to reach that full potential?
No, you need all of them, obviously. What would self-actualization needs to be? Growth,
That's what we're talking about too. Like our understanding, like mine and Erlen's understanding was kind of a little different than like Josh.
They're all necessary for like a fully functional life, but the ones that you really just need is food. You don't really, I mean, you know, safety. There's people in other countries that are not safe, but they still have all the other ones, you know. So when I was in the other countries that I've been to, you would look behind your back every 30 seconds for sure, but you still have everything else. Where were you sitting? Did I take your chair?
No, I've been sitting here.
Oh, okay.
No. I was checking back on the food. Second one over. Thank you, Fred.
But yeah.
Well, then we read the story of when Martha was pretty much kind of telling on Mary to Jesus that she wasn't helping with the food. But then Jesus said, go back to the other verse, Josh, 41. Yeah. So, Lord answered and said, Martha, you're anxious and troubled by many things, but one thing is necessary. Martha has chosen the good portion, which will not be taken away from her. And then we discussed, like, what was that good portion? What did she choose over? What did she sacrifice? What did Mary sacrifice?
Like while being pregnant, or like?
No, not that Mary.
Oh, that Mary.
Not the other Mary.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, this is later on. This is like before Martha and Mary. So Martha, the sisters were, one was preparing food, the other one was attending to Jesus.
Oh, I remember
Putting
that story.
oil on his
Yes,
feet.
yes. Because she was doing everything, and then the other one was like lazy, right?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
lazy
A lot of it, you know, you taking your esteem away, I would say, because you're kind of like humbling yourself, taking away your dignity and humbling yourself to serve. That's in the social aspect. People are seeing you doing that as well, so that's taking away your social, because it's taking away that or it could be giving, because that's a way of also giving affection, you know. So, and then yeah, it's those two for sure.
Are you talking about Martha or are you talking about Mary?
It's over Mary.
Yeah.
It's over Mary.
Oh, okay.
Because she sacrificed all that because she's under.
She's next to Jesus, not serving.
Because that dignity too. Because you know, like you're at someone's feet, washing his feet. That's why Jesus set an example for us too. Take away that dignity, take away that pride, because you're serving someone else at their feet. So we said she chose more of the vertical aspect versus the horizontal. And we stopped seeking solutions within the realm of normal, but we looked towards the supernatural. So that's the sum of it. I wish I had what was the title of the last one? Like, because this one was spiritual necessity. What was last week's? Kind of. Because Laura went over it too. But it's like they all tie together too. Because it's like,
This is last week, one thing to attain.
oh, what to attain. Okay.
Yeah, that one, this one was last week.
So one thing to attain, this one's what you need. So they kind of build on each other, kind of come together like that pyramid. So as we continue, we just got to continue building on our relationship with God and realizing these aspects in our life and what is needed to complete.
I think all those portions can give you anxiety if you're not putting your relationship with God in there. For example, for me, like having the new house and stuff, like safety, I always like I hear something and I'm like, what is it? You know? I was like, chill out.
Wood floors, everything echoes.
Everything creaks and echoes and stuff. So safety for sure. And yeah, I think social becomes very hard when the older you get. Yeah.
I was saying earlier, thankfully because we have God, we have the safety of having the ebbs and flows of life. Now when you're down, I guess quote unquote down, but not really down, because they're equally valuable. When you're trying to focus on your safety or physiological needs, those things are valuable. And it's okay to focus on those things. And to allow yourself to rest in those things. And then when you feel like you're on the up end, then you can start focusing on social needs, your esteem needs, and self-actualization needs. I'm really hard to say that. And then like I think that life is gonna continue going up and down. I heard something from my boss 2 weeks ago, and I was going through a lot of panic attacks, and she sat me down and she said something that was so powerful to me. She said, you have value without needing to earn it. And so much of everything that I see there, I felt like I had to earn it. And knowing that there is value in me without having to earn it, without having to earn my safety, without having to earn my physiological needs or social, whatever it is in that whole pyramid, I don't have to earn it, and I have value in all of that. Gave me so much peace and understanding that it's okay if I cry, it's okay if I break down, it's okay if all I can focus on right now is just surviving and allowing, and like I saw another post that said that to forgive ourselves in the time and for the things that we might have needed to do for our survival needs. And like sitting down and just kind of seeing that it was good. It was good to take care of yourself. It was good to take care of each other, but really good to take care of yourself. And then once you're in a much more better headspace, or God has like held you in His arms and He's smiling like, okay, I think you're ready to move forward, to start moving up the pyramid. I think it's also a challenge too, like seeing the pyramid and knowing like, okay, you know, we're doing the bottom two, which is fine, and then going like, okay, now I need to challenge myself to be in social needs, because socializing nowadays is a challenge, and self-esteem needs are a challenge, and self-actualization needs are a challenge, and being able to take a step forward and bravely face the unknown, knowing that we have God, knowing that's, you know, the answer may be no, but that's the worst they can say, and just moving forward, have faith and courage in that.
Also, I think something that's really important is I think we just go and go and go, and like we're in survival mode all the time. That's all you know how to do is how to survive, and like you
Yeah,
could
not to just get stuck on the two, right?
What's up?
Not to get stuck on the bottom two.
Yeah. Well, think of it. A lot of those things are just survival aspects, and then you got to think the first two are survival, and the rest of it goes into your other portion. So living your life with not just thinking of that and actually being happy. Like I don't know how to be happy. I'm learning to be happy. I'm trying to learn how to be happy. So that's because you have, you know, money or food or shelter only gets you certain far or a certain way until the other stuff starts lacking, and that's more important than. So.
Any other thoughts? Pray for us, Philip, as we close out. You?
thank you for the Sabbath. Thank you for this day, and please be with us every day so we can be close to you every single day. And please don't just take care of our physical and needs, but also our emotional and spiritual. That way we can be with you on a daily basis, and allow the Holy Spirit to guide us every day in your life, in our lives. And thank you for everything. Amen.
You're teaching me with my imperfections, reaching me